poses and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home
We have Coach Sarah on course as our pace setter. That's Sarah through the finish with a time of 2:3.85. 2:3.85. We have Coach Tyler on course. And Tyler through the finish with a time of 2:4.64. 2:4.64 for Tyler. All right, we are ready to get started. We have Lexi up in the start gate. Next up, we have Ella up at the start. All right, we have Lexi. Lexi coming through the finish with a time of 3:4.81. 3:4.81 for bib 135 Lexi. We have Ella on course. We have Joanna in the start. We have Margot in the start. Through the finish is Ella with a time of 4:1.93. 4:1.93 for Ella, bib number 156. Joanna's on course. Margot is in the start. We have Vivian in the start, and that's Joanna through the finish with a time of 4:1.70. 4:1.70 for Joanna. Margot's on course. Vivian's at the top. That's Margot through the finish with a time of 29.48. 29.48 for Margot, bib number 140. We have Vivian on course, and Coraline is in the start. We have Everly in the start gate. We have bib number 183, Vivian, with a time of 40.17. 40.17 for Vivian. Coraline is through the finish with a time of 27.22. 27.22 for Coraline. Nora is in the start. And that's bib number 120, Everly, through the finish with a time of 26.77. 26.77 for Everly. Harper in the start, and that's Nora from Blackhawk on course. Callie is in the start. Through the finish is Nora with a time of 3:1.28. 3:1.28 for Nora. Bib number 167, Harper, through the finish with a time of 26.73. 26.73 for Harper. We have Edie in the start. Callie's on course. That's Callie through the finish with a time of 3:1.88. 3:1.88 for bib number 147, Callie. We have Brindley in the start. Edie's on course. We have Gwen up at the start. Edie through the finish with a time of 2:5.50. 2:5.50 for Edie. Brindley's on course. Gwen is up top. Evelyn is in the start. We have bib number 75, Brindley, through the finish with a time of 2:5.39. 2:5.39 for Brindley. Evelyn's on course. We have Gwen through the finish. Gwen with a time of 2:5.14. 2:5.14 for Gwen. We have Annabella from Blackhawk in the start. And we have Evelyn on course. That's Evelyn through the finish with a time of 3:1.78. 3:1.78 for Evelyn. We have Kaya is in the start. Maggie is in the start, and that's Annabella from Blackhawk through the finish with a time of 2:4.38. That's 2:4.38 for Annabella. Kaya's on course. Maggie's at the top. Kaya, bib number 182, through the finish with a time of 2:5.46. That's 2:5.46 for Kaya. Maggie's on course. We have Harper up in the start. Lenny is in the start. It's bib number 71, Maggie, through the finish with a time of 2:3.93. 2:3.93 for Maggie. All right, let's make sure all the boys are up at the top of the hill. Boys to the top. Bib number 185, Harper, through the finish with a time of 22.86. 22.86 for Harper. We have Lenny on course, and we have Mira from Blackhawk in the start. Bib number 186, Lenny, through the finish with a time of 30.17. 30.17 for Lenny. We have Elinora in the start, and Mira is on course. That's Mirabella from Blackhawk through the finish with a time of 3:5.60. 3:5.60 for Mirabella. We have Alexandrea in the start from Blackhawk. That's That's Elinora from Blackhawk through the finish with a time of 29.71. 29.71. We have Madeline in the start. Alexandrea on course. Addie is in the start, and we have Alexandrea with a time of 24.76. That's Alexandrea from Blackhawk with a time of 24.76. Madeline is on course. Addie's at the top. That's been Madeline from Blackhawk. I'm sorry, that's Madeline from Tyrol. Through the finish with a time of 24.05. 24.05 for Madeline. Ashley is in the start, and we have Addison through the finish with a time of 27.36. That's 27.36 for Addie. Gigi's in the start. Ashley is on course. It's bib number 76. Ashley through the finish with a time of 24.77. 24.77 for Ashley. Gigi's on course. Ashlyn is in the start. Bib number 144, Gigi through the finish with a time of 23.50. 23.50 for Gigi. Ashlyn's on course. We have Stella in the start. All right, we got Ashlyn through the finish with a time of 39.50. 39.50 for Ashlyn. We have Stella up at the top. We have Leah in the start. Stella is on course. Stella through the finish with a time of 22.68. That's 22.68 for bib number 103, Stella.
That's why I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah.
We're working on it.
Great. Well, I think you were just like probably trying to look like, and I was like,
right, let's do a quick catch-up. So we had Brayton through the finish with a time of 3:9.26, 3:9.26 for Brayton. Rory was a time of 1 minute, 31 seconds. And Eddie, bib number 168, Eddie with the time of 42.87, 42.87. And that was bib number 169, Harlan, through the finish with a time of 45.91, 45.91 for Harlan. We have Hudson up at the top. And Hendricks is in the start. Dylan is in the start. Bib number 77, Hudson, through the finish with a time of 28.71, 28.71 for Hudson. Bib number 99, Hendricks, through the finish with a time of 29.48. That's 29.48 for Hendricks. We have Zach in the start. Sawyer is in the start. And we have bib number 133, Dylan, through the finish with a time of 35.01, 35.01 for Dylan. Zach is on course. Sawyer's in the start. We have Brendan in the start. Through the finish, bib number 93, Zach, with a time of 31.72, 31.72 for Zach. Sawyer's on course. Brendan's in the start. Henrik is in the start, and that's bib number 94, Sawyer, through the finish with a time of 29.57, 29.57 for Sawyer. Brendan on course. Henrik is in the start. We have Rylan in the start. That's bib number 72, Brendan, through the finish with a time of 26.07, 26.07 for Brendan. Through the finish, bib number 153, Henrik, with a time of 27.43, 27.43 for Henrik. Orson is in the start. Rylan is on course. Bib number 86, Rylan, through the finish with a time of 30.33, 30.33 for Rylan. Orson is on course. Nathan is in the start. Nathan is on course up at the top, and we have bib number 176, Orson, through the finish with a time of 42.73. 42.73 for Orson. Aiden is in the start. Nathan is on course. We have Griffin in the start. Through the finish is bib number 129, Nathan, with a time of 32.77. 32.77 for Nathan. is in the start. Bib number 63, Aiden, through the finish with a time of 25.37. 25.37 for Aiden. Griffin will be a DNF. Bib number 139, William, through the finish with a time of 28.61. 28.61 for William. We have Anders in the start at the top of the hill. Anders is on course. Tucker is in the start. Bib number 96, Anders, through the finish with a time of 24.10. 24.10 for Anders. And we have Tucker on course. Leo is in the start. Harley is in the start. That's Tucker through the finish with a time of 33.48. 33.48 for bib number 113, Tucker. We have William in the start. Through the finish, bib number 157, Leo, with a time of 29.40. 29.40 for Leo. Harley's on course. William is in the start. Evan is in the start. Bib number 107, Harley, through the finish with a time of 24.23. 24.23 for Harley. Emmett is in the start. Bib number 73, William, through the finish with a time of 28.07. 28.07 for William. David is in the start. David is on course. Bib number 128, Emmett, with a time of 35.85. That's 35.85 for Emmett. Stanley from Blackhawk is in the start. David is on course. All right, let's get all of our girls back up to the top of the course, please. Girls to the top. Stanley's on course. Bib number 66, David, through the finish with a time of 39.70. 39.70 for David. In the start, we have Andrew from Blackhawk. Weston is in the start. Stanley from Blackhawk through the finish with a time of 26.40. 26.40 for Stanley. Andrew's on course. Weston is in the start. That's Andrew from Blackhawk through the finish with a time of 33.30. 33.30. On course is Weston. In the start is Ian. Jonah's in the start. That was bib number 159 Weston through the finish with a time of 25.29. 25.29 for Weston. Emerson is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 184 Ian with a time of 26.78. 26.78 for Ian. We have Jonah on course. Emerson is in the start. Graham is up at the start. Through the finish, bib number 163 Jonah with a time of 26.59. 26.59 for Jonah. Quinn is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 111 Emerson with a time of 26.41. 26.41 for Emerson. Rory is at the start. Through the finish is bib number 158 Graham with a time of 22.98. 22.98 for Graham. There's Sully in the start. Through the finish, bib number 132 Quinn with a time of 30.36. 30.36 for Quinn. Rory is on course and Sully's up at the top. Owen is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 178 Rory with a time of 25.23. 25.23 for Rory. Walter is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 134 Sully with a time of 26.52. 26.52 for Sully. That's Owen through the finish, bib number 67 Owen with a time of 28.65. 28.65. Victor is in the start. Walter is on course. James is in the start. That was Walter through the finish, bib number 9 Walter from Blackhawk with a time of 22.13. 22.13. James is on course. Through the finish, bib number 172 Victor with a time of 28.28. 28.28. We have Alex in the start. James is on course. Evan is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 84, James, with a time of 23.48. 23.48 for James. We have Evan Bateman in the start. Through the finish is U12, bib number 105, Alex, with a time of 27.20. 27.20 for Alex. We have Colin in the start. Through the finish, bib number 137, Evan, with a time of 24.00. 24.00 for Evan. All right, we have Colin on course. Bib number 188, Evan, through the finish with a time of 25.24. 25.24 for Evan. We have Xander in the start. And that's bib number 70, Colin, through the finish with a time of 20.59. 20.59 for Colin. Through the finish, bib number 81, Xander, with a time of 20.67. 20.67 for Xander. All right, we're starting on the girls. Let's make sure all the girls are to the top of the hill. Girls to the top of the hill, please. In the start, we have Ella. That's Ella on course. Once again, let's make sure that all of the girls are headed up to the top of the hill, please. Girls to the top. We have Margot in the start. Ella's on course. Vivian's in the start. Through the finish, bib number 156, Ella, with a time of 42.02. 42.02 for Ella. We have Lexi in the start. Through the finish, bib number 140, Margot, with a time of 29.66. 29.66 for Margot. Coralyn is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 183, Vivian, with a time of 38.90. 38.90 for Vivian. Lexi's on course. Coralyn's in the start. We have Everly in the start. Through the finish is Lexi, bib number 135, Lexi, with a time of 35.29. 35.29 for Lexi. We have Mira in the start. Through the finish is Coralyn, bib number 91, Coralyn, with a time of 26.61. 26.61 for Coralyn. Everly is on course. Mira's in the start. Bib number 120, Everly, through the finish with a time of 26.81. 26.81 for Everly. We have Nora in the start. have Harper in the start. Through the finish is Mira from Blackhawk with a time of 33.40. 33.40 for Mira. Nora's on course. Harper is in the start. We have Callie in the start, and that's Nora from Blackhawk through the finish with a time of 34.79. 34.79 for Nora. Edie is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 167, Harper with a time of 26.28. 26.28 for Harper. Brindley's in the start. Through the finish, bib number 147, Callie with a time of 31.53. 31.53 for Callie. Gwen is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 109, Edie with a time of 25.39. 25.39 for Edie. Evelyn is in the start. Through the finish is Brindley, bib number 75, Brindley with a time of 26.53. 26.53 for Brindley. We have Annabella in the start. Through the finish, bib number 121, Gwen with a time of 25.37. 25.37 for Gwen. Kaya is up at the start. Through the finish, bib number 150, Evelyn with a time of 31.30. 31.30 for Evelyn. Annabella's on course. Kaya's at the top. We have Maggie in the start. Through the finish is Annabella from Blackhawk with a time of 25.89. 25.89 for Annabella. Let's get all the boys to the top of the hill, please. Boys to the top of the hill. Maggie's on course. Harper is in the start. That's Kaya through the finish. Bib number 182, Kaya with a time of 26.54. 26.54 for Kaya. We have Lenny in the start. That's Maggie, bib number 71, Maggie through the finish with a time of 25.48. 25.48 for Maggie. Nora is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 185, Harper with a time of 23.18. 23.18 for Harper. We have Nora at the top. We have Alexandrea in the start. And through the finish is bib number 186, Lenny, with a time of 30.81. 30.81 for Lenny. We have Madeline in the start. Through the finish is Nora. Nora with a time of 29.63. 29.63 for Elinora. Madeline is up at the top. Addie is in the start. And through the finish is Alexandrea with a time of 25.25. 25.25 for Alexandrea. Ashley's in the start. Through the finish is Madeline with a time of 23.31. 23.31 for Madeline. We have Gigi in the start. Through the finish, bib number 5A Addie with a time of 27.28. 27.28 for Addie. Ashlyn is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 76 Ashley with a time of 26.08. 26.08 for Ashley. Stella is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 144 Gigi with a time of 25.00. 25.00 for Gigi. Through the finish, bib number 95 Ashlyn with a time of 26.08. 26.08 for Ashlyn. We have Leah in the start. Stella's on course. We have JoJo in the start. Through the finish, bib number 103 Stella with a time of 23.09. 23.09 for Stella. Through the finish, bib number 138 Leah with a time of 21.58. 21.58 for Leah. We have Joanna on course. We have Rory in the start. Through the finish, it's bib number 53 Joanna. That's a U8. 53 Joanna with a time of 36.02. 36.02. In the start, we have Edison. On course, we have Rory. We have Brayton in the start, and we have Eddie on course. Orson is up in the start. Through the finish is bib number 168. Eddie with a time of 43.94. 43.94 for Eddie. Brayton's on course. Orson is up at the top. We have Hudson in the start. Through the finish, bib number 161 Brayton with a time of 38.10. 38.10 for Brayton. Harlan is up at the start. Through the finish, bib number 176 Orson with a time of 41.18. 41.18 for Orson. Hudson's on course. Harlan is up at the top. Through the finish, bib number 77 Hudson with a time of 30.56. 30.56 for Hudson. We have Harlan on course. Hendricks is in the start. All the boys should be at the top of the hill. Colin, Zander, that's you guys. We have Upton in the start. Through the finish is bib number 169 Harlan with a time of 41.35. 41.35 for Harlan. I don't remember if I announced Hudson's time. Bib number 77 Hudson with a time of 30.56. 30.56 for Hudson. Through the finish, bib number 99 Hendricks with a time of 30.10. 30.10 for Hendricks. Upton is on course. We have Upton on course. Dylan is in the start. We have Dylan's in the start. Through the finish is Uppy with a time of 1 minute and 54 seconds. 1 minute, 54 seconds for Uppy. Dylan's on course. Zach is in the start. Sawyer's in the start. Through the finish, bib number 133 Dylan with a time of 34.26. 34.26 for Dylan. We have Brendan in the start. Through the finish, bib number 93 Zach with a time of 31.93. 31.93 for Zach. Hendricks is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 94 Sawyer with a time of 2:08.44. 2:08.44 for Sawyer. We have Rylan in the start. Through the finish, bib number 72 Brendan Bubby Burke with a time of 27.46. 27.46 for Brendan Bubby Burke. Anders is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 153 Henrik with a time of 28.14. 28.14 for Henrik. We have David up in the start. Through the finish, bib number 86 Rylan with a time of 30.38. 30.38 for Rylan. Nathan Bateman is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 96 Anders with a time of 24.41. 24.41 for Anders. Aiden is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 66 David with a time of 36.76. 36.76 for David. We have Griffin in the start. Through the finish, bib number 129 Nathan Bateman with a time of 32.35. 32.35. Alex is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 63 Aiden with a time of 25.13. 25.13 for Aiden. William is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 162 Griffin with a time of 26.23. 26.23 for Griffin. We have Tucker in the start. Through the finish, bib number 105 Alex with a time of 28.79. 28.79 for Alex. If there are any parents on skis that wouldn't mind heading to the top to help slip the course in between runs, that would be great. If there are any parents that can help slip, please do so right now. We have Leo in the start. That was William through the finish, bib number 139 William with a time of 28.55. 28.55. Harley is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 113 Tucker with a time of 28.29. 28.29 for Tucker. Harley's up at the top. Through the finish, bib number 157 Leo with a time of 29.33. 29.33 for Leo. Emmett is in the start. Stanley is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 107 Harley with a time of 24.96. 24.96 for Harley. Weston is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 128, Emmett, with a time of 34.69. 34.69 for Emmett. Ian is in the start. Through the finish is Stanley, with a time of 26.07. 26.07 for Stanley. We have Victor in the start. Through the finish, bib number 159, Weston, with a time of 25.24. 25.24 for Weston. Emerson is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 184, Ian, with a time of 27.86. 27.86 for Ian. We have Graham in the start. Through the finish, bib number 172, Victor, with a time of 29.24. 29.24 for Victor. Quinn is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 111, Emerson, with a time of 28.34. 28.34 for Emerson. Rory is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 158, Graham, with a time of 25.81. 25.81 for Graham. Sully is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 132, Quinn, with a time of 30.12. 30.12 for Quinn. Owen is in the start. Through the finish is Rory, bib number 178, Rory, with a time of 25.30. 25.30 for Rory. Walter is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 134, Sully, with a time of 28.88. 28.88 for Sully. We have James in the start. Through the finish, bib number 67, Owen, with a time of 29.36. 29.36 for Owen. We have James at the top. Through the finish, bib number 9, Walter, with a time of 22.18. That's Walter from Blackhawk with a time of 22.18. We have William in the start. Evan is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 84, James, with a time of 23.13. 23.13 for James. Evan Bateman's in the start. Through the finish, bib number 73, William, with a time of 28.13. 28.13 for William. Through the finish, bib number 137, Evan Ferkin, with a time of 23.43. That's 23.43 for Evan Ferkin. Xander's in the start. Through the finish, Evan Bateman, bib number 188, with a time of 26.24. 26.24 for Evan. Xander's on course. Through the finish is Colin, bib number 70, Colin, with a time of 20.37. 20.37 for Colin. Through the finish with a great catch, bib number 81, Xander, with a time of 22.25. That's 22.25 for Xander. All right, we have Lexi in the start. Lexi is in the start. We have Ella up at the top of the course. JoJo is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 135, Lexi, with a time of 34.98. 34.98 for Lexi. We have Margot in the start. Through the finish, bib number 156, Ella. Which we'll have for you once the computer wakes up. All right, so we had bib number 156, Ella, with a time of 41.40. 41.40 for Ella. We have Vivian is in the start. Through the finish was bib number 53, Joanna, with a time of 36.98. That's 36.98 for Joanna. Margot is on course. Vivian's in the start. We have Coraline in the start. Through the finish, bib number 140, Margot, with a time of 30.42. 30.42 for Margot. We have Everly in the start. Through the finish, bib number 183, Vivian, with a time of 40.03. 40.03 for Vivian. We have Mira in the start. Through the finish, bib number 91, Coraline, with a time of 27.31. 27.31 for Coraline. That's bib number 120, Everly, through the finish with a time of 26.97. 26.97 for Everly. We have Harper at the top of the course. Nora's in the start. Through the finish is Mirabella with a time of 35.58. 35.58 for Mirabella. We have Callie up at the start. Through the finish is Harper, bib number 167 Harper with a time of 27.41. 27.41 for Harper. Edie is in the start. Through the finish, we have Nora with a time of 35.28. That's Nora with a time of 35.28. Brindley is in the start. Through the finish is Callie, bib number 147 Callie with a time of 31.47. 31.47 for Callie. We have Gwen in the start. Through the finish, bib number 109 Edie with a time of 25.28. 25.28 for Edie. Evelyn is in the start. That's Brindley, bib number 75 Brindley through the finish with a time of 26.68. 26.68 for Brindley. Annabella is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 121 Gwen with a time of 24.73. 24.73 for Gwen. Is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 150 Evelyn with a time of 31.50. 31.50 for Evelyn. We have Maggie in the start. Through the finish is Annabella with a time of 26.16. 26.16 for Annabella. Let's have all the boys please head to the top. Boys, start heading to the top. Reminder that this is a 2-run race. Best of 2 runs. Harper is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 182 Kaya with a time of 27.65. 27.65 for Kaya. Lenny is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 71 Maggie with a time of 25.41. 25.41 for Maggie. We have Nora in the start. Through the finish, bib number 185 Harper with a time of 23.65. 23.65 for Harper. Alexandrea is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 186 Lenny with a time of 32.52. 32.52 for Lenny. Alexandrea is in the start. Elinora's on course. Elinora through the finish with a time of 30.56. 30.56. We have Madeline in the start. Addie is in the start. That's Alexandrea through the finish with a time of 25.55. 25.55 for Alexandrea. That's Madeline through the finish with a time of 23.45. 23.45 for Madeline. Addie is in the start. We have Ashley in the start. Through the finish is Addison with a time of 26.71. That's 26.71 for Addison. In case I missed it, that was Madeline through the finish before that with a time of 23.45. 23.45 for Madeline. Gigi is in the start. Through the finish is Ashley with a time of 27.05. 27.05 for Ashley. We have Ashlyn in the start. Through the finish, bib number 144, Gigi with a time of 25.09. 25.09 for Gigi. We have Stella in the start. Ashlyn on course. Leah's in the start. That's bib number 95, Ashlyn through the finish with a time of 25.74. 25.74 for Ashlyn. Through the finish, bib number 103, Stella with a time of 23.65. 23.65 for Stella. On course is Leah. Bib number 138, Leah through the finish with a time of 21.63. 21.63 for Leah. We have Upton in the start gate.
Got my toes in the water, ass in the sand. Not a worry in the world, a cold beer in my hand. Life is good today. Life is good today. Well, the plane touched down just about 3 o'clock, and the city's still on my mind. Bikinis and palm trees danced in my head. I was still in the baggage line. Concrete cars, their home prison bars, like this life I'm living in. But the plane brought me farther, I'm surrounded by water, and I'm not going back again. I got my toes in the water, ass in the sand, not a worry in the world, a cold beer in my hand. Life is good today, life is good today. Adios and bye con Dios. Yeah, I'm leaving GA. And if it weren't for tequila and pretty senoritas, I'd have no reason to stay. Adios and fire come in.
We have Rory up in the start. Eddie is in the start. Through the finish is bib number 166, Uppy, with a time of 2 minutes. 2 minutes for Uppy. We have Eddie on course. Orson is in the start. And through the finish is bib number 64, Rory, with a time of 1 minute and 17 seconds. 1 minute, 1 minute and 17 seconds. We have Brayton in the start. Through the finish is Eddie, bib number 168, Eddie, with a time of 43.17. 43.17 for Eddie. Harlan is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 176, Orson, with a time of 38.20. 38.20 for Orson. Through the finish, bib number 161, Brayton, with a time of 37.83. 37.83 for Brayton. Harlan's on course. Hudson is in the start. In the start is Hendricks. Through the finish, bib number 169, Harlan, with a time of 40.72. 40.72 for Harlan. Dylan is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 77, Hudson, with a time of 30.78. 30.78 for Hudson. Up at the top of the course, we have Zach. Our computer system is back to life. We have Sawyer up at the top in the start. In the start, we have Brendan. Through the finish, bib number 9-3, Zach, with a time of 3:2.64. 3:2.64 for Zach. Henrik is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 9-4, Sawyer, with a time of 2:7.83. That's 2:7.83 for Sawyer. Rylan is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 7-2, Brendan, with a time of 2:7.82. 2:7.82 for Brendan. We have Dylan in the start for his rerun. Through the finish, bib number 153, Henrik, with a time of 2:7.73. 2:7.73 for Henrik. Anders is in the start. Coming through the finish, bib number 86, Rylan, with a time of 3:2.05. 3:2.05. We have David in the start. Coming through the finish, bib number 133, Dylan, with a time of 3:5.40. 3:5.40 for Dylan. Nathan is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 96, Anders, with a time of 2:5.04. 2:5.04 for Anders. We have Aiden in the start. Through the finish is David. Bib number 66, David, with a time of 3:7.60. 3:7.60 for David. Griffin is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 129, Nathan, with a time of 33.02. 33.02 for Nathan. We have Alex in the start. Through the finish, bib number 63, Aiden, with a time of 26.09. 26.09 for Aiden. William is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 162, Griffin, with a time of 27.02. 27.02 for Griffin. Tucker is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 105, Alex, with a time of 29.53. 29.53 for Alex. We have Leo in the start. Through the finish, bib number 139, William, with a time of 27.91. 27.91 for William. All right, let's get all the girls to the top of the hill, please. Girls up to the top. We have Harley in the start. Through the finish, bib number 113, Tucker, with a time of 28.57. 28.57 for Tucker. Through the finish is Leo, bib number 157, Leo, with a time of 30.92. 30.92 for Leo. Harlan's on course. William is in the start. That's Harley through the finish with a time of 25.35. 25.35 for Harley. When William comes down, let's send him up for a rerun. We did not get a start for William. Please send him up for a rerun. We have Emmett on course. William to the top for a rerun, please. Stanley is in the start. We have Andrew in the start. Through the finish, bib number 128, Emmett, with a time of 36.73. 36.73 for Emmett. Weston is in the start. Through the finish, Stanley with a time of 25.79. 25.79 for Stanley. A reminder, we're going to do one more run after this, so make sure you stick around for the fourth run of the day. Ian is in the start. Through the finish is Andrew with a time of 35.35. 35.35 for Andrew. Jonah is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 159 Weston with a time of 25.99. 25.99 for Weston. Victor is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 184 Ian with a time of 28.38. 28.38 for Ian.
Josh, you look good.
Emerson is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 163 Jonah with a time of 26.82. 26.82. We have Graham in the start. Through the finish, bib number 172 Victor with a time of 29.47. 29.47 for Victor. Quinn is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 111 Emerson with a time of 27.31. 27.31 for Emerson. Rory is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 158 Graham with a time of 23.51. 23.51 for Graham. We have Sully in the start. Through the finish, bib number 132 Quinn with a time of 27.98. 27.98 for Quinn. We have Owen in the start. Through the finish, bib number 178 Rory with a time of 25.84. 25.84 for Rory. Walter is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 134 Sully with a time of 28.37. 28.37 for Sully. James is in the start. Through the finish is Owen. Bib number 67, Owen, with a time of 28.71. 28.71 for Owen. Walter is DNF. Through the finish, bib number 84, James, with a time of 24.49. 24.49 for James. In the start, we have Evan Ferkin. Racers, reminder that we're doing a 4th run, so racers head to the top of the hill for run number 4. In the start, we have Evan Bateman. On course, we have Evan Ferkin. William is in the start. Through the finish, bib number 137, Evan Ferkin, with a time of 24.73. 24.73 for Evan. Through the finish, bib number 188, Evan Bateman, with a time of 25.62. 25.62 for Evan Bateman. We have Colin in the start. Evan's on course. I'm sorry, William is on course. Xander is in the start. Bib number 73, William, with a time of 27.32. 27.32 for William.